Hey guys, we're back for now the fourth part of the Swift quiz creation, well, application creation. So we left off creating this quiz template, and now we need to actually do the important part, the quiz. So how are we going to do this? First off, let's get back to a normal view, because we have to set up the storyboard first. And then, now this time, how the views are going to be set up is going to be a little different. So first part, we're going to have one view part for the quiz question. Okay, so what's the next part? Well, we need to list all the questions. And then what's next? Well, you can either have it, so on the press, it submits that answer and moves on to the next question. Or we can make it that queues up our answer, and then this submits it. Now, you know what, to make it easier, we're just going to have it set up. So whenever you press in an actual question, it's going to immediately submit the answer. So what would you need a third view still for, and what's that? Well, this view down here, we're going to set this for 0, 0, 0. So what is this view down here for then, if we're going to have that? It's going to sound a little weird at first, but this is actually going to tell the user how they're doing on the quiz so far, how far they've gone with the quiz. So very light text color. And up here we're going to have the question. And for this, we're going to end up using a larger text view. So we're going to want a bit of space. So again, 0, 0, 0. And the height this time, let's set that to 120. We already have that blue aesthetic, so I feel like a blue overhead for the question would be nice. And then let's add a 0, 0, 0, 0. And what this is going to do, now explain how I'm setting stuff up. So when you set up a constraint that's not constrained by height, it will squish with how the size difference is. So this is just what I'm used to doing with it. It is a habit to have. So this, if it goes to an iPhone 5, it will just lower and squish in. Now, let's add in the various options we're going to need. So we're going to need a label. Okay. Now here's one thing we're going to need because of how big the questions could potentially be. Just go ahead and put the lines with the 2. Keep it in the middle setting again. And then we do need slightly bigger font. So let's go up to 25. And then of course the color, going back to white, it is a decently dark background compared to what you could have. And then for this one, we're actually going to do 20 all around. Now, what if we have a super long answer? What are we going to do? Now, this is just to give you some knowledge. Because the string, if we had a 100-line string, we're probably not going to be able to fit that into 2 lines. So what can we do? Well, there's this thing called an auto string, and also this dynamic typing. There are 2 things we need to set. So if you want your type itself, and this don't have to worry about too much sometimes, but this is only in those cases where you might have a lot of string data coming in. You can automatically adjust the font, and then if you go to auto string, you can do a minimum font scale or font size. So I'm going to say our minimum font size is 15. Now, if the data can't be held together through size 15 in 2 lines through this entire thing, what's actually going to do then is add ... and it's not going to complete it. But for our questions now, that's not going to be an issue. So now we have it set up to auto shrink. Okay, that's good. What's going to go down here? Well, you could could do a stack. So we're going to be inputting data. Or we could just do a label. You know, let's just do a label and a button. We're putting a label and a button. What looks better? Yeah, let's put the label on this side. Yeah, yeah. Okay, first off, let's both align these to be vertically and container aligned. We both need to be vertically aligned in the container. And then just so these guys never fully hit each other, let's make it so they're always 50 away from each other. And then one of these has to come closer or go away. So let's set this one to be about 100 away from the side. Now this just stops overlapping. So this means as it compresses, it's going to move that way. So the way to do it, one way to do it, now that's one way. It also done a stack view, which would have had them set up proportionally. But for now, we're going to keep it into constraints and as basic as possible for this. So yeah, sometimes I'll be using words that you can look up how to do them, but it is still things that we use. But this is supposed to be a fairly basic tutorial. I don't want to go too advanced into things. So we're not using collection views, we're going to be using table views, stuff like that. So this button, well, what's this going to do? This is going to submit answer. Fairly long. And we need placeholder for this label. And what this text actually is going to be is 1 out of 10. To kind of explain what's going on. Now the submit answer, let's actually make this look more like a button. Now we need to do width and height. Width, let's set it to 120, and height to 40. And then let's add in a background color. How about blue? Or you know what, we can go back and we add in that teal coloring to it to make it look similar to how we had it over here. And then 1 out of 10 in black works. We got all of this going. Now let's go and actually hook this all up for now, because the next part is going to be a little bit more complicated, and I want you guys to get everything set up before you go to the next part for this. And it'll just make it easier for some of you guys to do this. So go get to your QuizViewController. Now if you have any issues, you're going to have to mess with it, jiggle around a little bit. Just manual, Quiz Plus, go into your controllers, and then find QuizViewController. Now what things do we need to add into here? And let's add a little bit of space. Well, we need to be able to set the question. For this, we're going to do an outlet. Now, an outlet is basically making an object of that object. But we're putting that object into the controller itself to be able to be changed. This is a type UI label object. Question, label. Now, what else do we need to do? Well, another object that we're going to change is the count label. And then finally, we need an action. Action, submit. And make sure for this one, we make it an action instead of just an outlet. This is going to submit whatever our current answer has been selected. Now we'll get into that in a little bit. Again, this is just the UI for now. So let's go back to the big view. So, how are we going to present our questions? Well, an easy one we can do is to add in a table view. So we have the table view. Now, constraint-wise, this one we're going to give a little bit of cushion. And it's how we're setting up the constraints. So we have the table, yeah, a little bit of cushion. Now we're going to grab a table view cell, and we're going to put it in like that. Now the cell. Now here's one thing we have to set before we go anything. We're not making these too big. So we're now in the table view cell. What's the row height going to be? Well, we're going to make this a 100 row height. An 80 row height. Yeah. A little off on the scale there for a second. So this should give us all 4 questions. Now, here's the part. We need to go from the table view cell into the table view itself. We need to set the row height once more and make it not automatic. Make sure it's set to 80. This locks it into 80. If you don't do this, you're not going to get the correct view size, and it's going to look weird. Just letting you guys know that now. So, we got this table view. Well, what now? Well, we have the table view cell. That is just a view. But we're adding in extra view for only one reason. Now, make sure your view is inside of the box. We're actually going to set this up to its self-made barriers. Boom, boom, boom. Lock it all to 0. And now the view's been set. Now this is the view we're putting everything in. And what we can do is actually change this color to one of the nice colors I do enjoy seeing is called the Group Table View Background color. Now, this is slightly transparent with the look, and it's just overall, it's a nice look to it. So now what we're going to add. So for this one, we're going to add a label. In this label, we're going to put 5 on the constraints for everything. Bam. We're going to, again, set it to the middle. Set the dynamic type, and let's make that a 10. So we're going to go from 20 to 10. One line this time. And answers as the blank label. If you make 4 of these labels, there'll be 4 things called answer. Okay. So what now? Now I did end up rocking something to show the lines on this. Ooh, that is not good. An internal error occurred. What's the internal error? Oh yeah, because this is a prototype cell, because this is a cell that is for the table, we need to give it an identifier. Now, what identifier could we use? Well, how about QuizCell? So now it has been given an identifier. I think that error that's going on is causing all this weird, showing us the frames right now. We don't need to do that. So after this, I'll go to see what's going on with the frames. But overall, so we have all this. Now we need to link the table and the cell over. Now here's one thing we're going to have to go, is we're going to have to make a cell class. We're going to do that in just a second. So for this table, we have to make the cell class because we're making custom class anyway. But let's first hook up the table itself. So we have the table, we have the table view. We're going to control drag that over. and insert it into the view controller. This is going to be the quiz table. We have that outlet. Now, one thing you have to do up here, so you have your class. Now you're going to do a comma after this UI view controller, after the quiz view controller, and we're going to call this a table view delegate, UI table view delegate, and a UI table view data source. And then over, you're going to go down and the view it did load. And we're going to just say that quiz table dot data source or delegate equals self quiz table dot data source equals self. Okay, but we're still having these red marks go around. Or yeah, that still has that red mark. So what's going on? Well, we need to conform to the protocols. To fix it, I'll change it really quickly. And we have these number of rows in section and self where we're at. Oh, so that's the issue. Well, how do we make it have all this? Well, for now, we're just going to put in a quick array. So var quiz answer list is literally what it is. A string. We're going to do answer 1, answer 2. And the reason we're actually doing this is to know how far everything goes along. So, 4. So if you see this, that means we have literally run nothing later on in the code for debugging purposes, as we had it set up. If we see stuff like yes, yes, no, yes, then we know that the actual question was grabbed, but it was the one initialized. If we get the actual question, then we know that the questions went fully through. Now we have this. So we need to have a number of rows in sections. So that's just how many different cells we're going to have. Well, to be exact, we're going to have the quiz answer list amount. So we're just going to return the count. Now, self row at is a little bit more complicated. And we can't actually do that till we make the custom cell class. So let's go ahead and do that. So class quiz cell colon, this is very important, table UI, okay, class QuizCell UI, yeah, that would explain. Class QuizCell UI table view cell. We have to keep it under the import UI kit. So one thing we have in there, so this is the only thing in the cell, and we got this label. This is actually where we bring the label over to. And this is in the quiz cell, but it's not working. Why isn't it working? Well, here's the fun part. When I told you about the linking earlier, that linking makes it so only a quiz class or whatever class can attach to a corresponding view controller in the storyboard. Well, that includes different cell types and all these different types of views and all that. So, what do you have to do? Well, you actually have to go to the quiz cell and make this a quiz cell. Okay, now that's what's going to happen now. What's the difference? Well, it recognizes that that should have that object. So it allows it to be made. So this is the answer label. Okay, that's cool. So we now have made the UI table view cell. That's all. And you can't throw in the knit in there. but that doesn't make much difference for this. It will have a default initialization in it. So, what do we do now? Well, now we need to make the cell. So, to do this, it's very simple, as most people do. So you do var cell equals. Now this is where D, Q, 3, we got to do a table view cell that DQ reusable. Table view dot view reusable cell with identifier string. There we go. Now what's the identifier string going to be? It's, to be exact, it's going to be the identifier that we gave that cell. We gave that identifier that. Now again, it's a string, so we have to add the quotes and put that in. And are ready to go? Not quite yet. What we now need to do is we need to force an as to be a quiz cell. Now we can just return the cell. Okay, so we made a cell and returned it. What's next? Well, we may have made this cell, but we didn't do anything to it. So all it's going to return is that answers. So we need to have it be cell.label, our answer label dot text that text, yeah. I don't know why it's not highlighted. That text is equal to part of the array. Well, we need part of the array. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we do the quiz answer list. Quiz answer list. And we can do the index path, so whatever it currently is, dot row. That will get where the position of the UI view. Oh, that would explain it. Okay. Let's delete that. We ended up hooking up the UI view instead of the actual label. Answer label. There we go. And there we go. Okay. That's all set up now. One thing to make sure is, since how we set that up, we need to go to the QuizCell, over here, and make sure that there is no straggling outlets left. Okay, good. Now if you run this again, we should now have a view jump page and then a question page, or the quiz page. Now again, this is not going to be fully functional or anything like that at all. So press start, and look at that, we have our answers. Now one thing you're probably wondering, what are these? That's a very quick fix, but it also shows us what we have last selected. So we can submit answer, it'll push through, but that looks like a quiz. So let me show you how to get rid of those lines really quickly, and then that will be it for this installation of the tutorial. What we need to go is we go to quiz table, and you need to find the separator, and make it none. And if you do that, let's load up one more time. It will then get rid of the actual lines that you saw there. Start, and then boom, lines are gone. There we go. We got our questions. And that's it for the video.